And so there are two very special ladies whose lives we're going to look at today, because God has painted a very beautiful portrait of those ladies. Even though, like you and me, they've gone through various circumstances in life. And so those two women are Naomi and Ruth. And so I'm going to share with you, I do have to put on my glasses. I'm going to share with you an excerpt from the book of Ruth, chapter 2, verses 10 through 13. And it reads as follows. Verse 10. So she fell on her face, bowed down to the ground, and said to him, Why have I found favor in your eyes, that you should take notice of me, since I am a foreigner? In other words, this is Ruth speaking. I don't belong here. And Boaz answered and said to her, It has been fully reported to me, all that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, and how you left your father and your mother and the land of your birth, and have come to a people whom you did not know before. The Lord repay your work, and a full reward be given to you by the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings you have come for refuge. And then she said, Let me find favor in your sight, my Lord, for you have comforted me and have spoken kindly to your maidservant, though I am not like your maidservants. The book of Ruth and the book of Esther, those are just two of my favorite books in the Bible, because they really put the spotlight on women and their contribution to world history, even in ancient times and biblical days. And so I would like to just talk very briefly about the role that Naomi plays in our lives every day, as well as the role that Ruth plays. Naomi represents the mother in all of our lives, and Ruth represents the daughter, the niece, that young lady that we're mentoring. And every woman someday will become a Naomi, and every woman at some point in her life will have been Ruth. And so their lives are parallel, and they need each other, just like it is for you and for me as women. So let's look at our first lady. God has painted a portrait of a beautiful, wise woman in his word. Her name is Naomi. She's known as a woman of wisdom. Her Hebrew name means pleasant. She's known as a woman of inner strength, unsurpassed wisdom, and relentless faith. But Naomi has a story. She became a widow at a very unexpected time in life. She endured life's disappointments, including famine in Bethlehem. That's her homeland. Relocating to a foreign land with her husband. And then once she got there, he died. And then she spent 10 years in that foreign land that had a bad reputation for idolatry and other just sins that we don't even really want to mention. And so she stayed in that land for 10 years with her sons, who married Moabite women, Ruth and Orpah. And then after 10 years, her sons died. Now that's like a triple blow. It's bad enough that your husband passes away unexpectedly. After you move to another city, you leave the place of your familiar. And then on top of that, both of her sons die unexpectedly as well. In the process, though, while the sons were living, Naomi took under her wing her two daughters in love, Ruth and Orpah. She developed a close relationship with them. She became a mentor to them, a life coach. And all those things that she imparted from the Jewish faith, she put it in them on a daily basis. And that helped them, and we'll talk about Ruth momentarily, to face their difficulties and challenges in life. Because after all, that's what a mother does. She imparts. She prepares us. She equips us for the journey that lies ahead. But Naomi's not perfect. She did become bitter, as probably any other normal human being would. Because after all, things were going so well for a while, And then all of a sudden, it seems like life just fell apart. And she became bitter towards God because of her difficult circumstances after 10 years in a foreign land where she endured sorrow and poverty. Because widows weren't looked upon very highly during this time and weren't necessarily taken care of properly. So she really had to fend for herself, she and her 2 daughters in law. But the story doesn't end there, because she was blessed of God. An opportunity presented itself for her to go back home to Bethlehem, and she was restored by God to become a part of the lineage of the Messiah.